Today's May 19th. The Bucks take 3 of 4 from the Cubs in Chicago. Really should have had the sweep, but no, he dropped the ball, I guess. Good series, though. Let's talk about the Pirates. You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Yins, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh, and I'm joined as always by my brother Jake. What's up, Jake?
Man, that's all I can just, man. Skenes is dog.
Yeah. There we go, right out of the gate. Pitt City, what's going on? I love it. All right, guys. Hey, 3 of 4 from the Cubs. This is going to be a good one. Jake's internet has been awesome today, so you might see him lag a little bit. Hopefully the audio still comes through great for all of the audio listeners. So going to be a good one here tonight. It usually is any time that you take 3 of 4 in Chicago, right? Usually
that's what I was. I was bringing that up to the wife earlier when we were talking. So you win a series in Chicago. That's not always easy. Doesn't happen often.
Yeah. So, and to do it in that fashion too. So we're going to get into the pitching. We're going to get into, let's see. Basically, some of the talk that Pitt City has already started in the chat, saying DFA Rowdy. We're going to get into a little bit of that conversation. We will talk about the play at home, because why wouldn't you? And then we'll talk a little bit about the Giants and get out of here. This is going to be a good one, though, I think.
So before we start talking about like the actual series and what happened in it, can I just say I'm not a big fan of. How many we played 9 games against our division teams now?
Just
something like that.
10 straight 13. Right there.
Like, well, I don't like this. You only play like you shrunk the amount of games we're going to play each team in our division, and then we got to play the Cubs twice, like in 3 or 4 series, like,
and the Brewers. I mean, they were just earlier this month, right?
Yeah, I mean, like spread them out. Like, I don't like this. We've seen Skenes pitch twice now, and they were both against the Cubs.
No, the Brewers were at the end of April, not earlier in the month. So we had a little bit of a gap there, but then we had Cubs, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then we don't see division opponent until mid-June when it's Cardinals, and then Reds later that month, and then Rays, then Reds again, and then Cardinals again, and then the Brewers. Yeah, anyway. They do kind of lump them a little bit, and there's a lot there. I don't know. You make the schedule how you make the schedule. It doesn't matter to me really how they line up. I mean, did you see the NFL schedule was released, and like the Steelers don't play any division opponents until like the back half of the year, which is perfect for the Steelers because they always start off slow and then they catch fire, and they're going to get to play all their division opponents when they catch fire. So it's a great schedule for them. But yeah. So, hey, no show Friday. Just to quickly address, I was down for the count with strep throat last week. Starting to kind of come back on Thursday, but still sounded like I've been smoking for 25 years, a pack a day. Jake, you were celebrating your anniversary, am I right?
Yeah, we were at Pensacola Beach.
Okay, so
Florida. Basically
we just said, all right, this ain't working. Let's just skip this one and move on. Nobody wanted to hear me talk for 25, 30 minutes, for sure. And also, last week we did say something. Chapman, when he went out with the fingernail deal, whatever that was, they ended up walking the guy, and the walk went to Chapman. You mentioned you didn't know that. I kind of sounded confused about the rules. Just to clarify it up, it is MLB Rule 9.16H, and it's a relief pitcher shall not be held accountable when the first batter to whom he pitches reaches first base on 4 called balls if such batter had a decided advantage in the ball and strike count when the pitchers are changed. So basically what that means is when the pitchers are changed, if it was a 2-0, 2-1, 3-0, 3-1, or 3-2 count, any kind of advantage to the hitter, it's charged to the pitcher that came out, not the relief pitcher. And
okay, that makes sense.
Anything else that happens in that at bat goes to the relief pitcher. If he gets a hit, even if it's a hit batsman, it goes to the relief pitcher.
Yeah, I mean that should
right. So
he threw the pitch to hit him.
Anything like that. And then also if when pitchers are changed, the count is even or the pitcher is ahead, then everything goes to the relief pitcher. So even a strikeout in that case. And I did mention that, right? I did mention that, if you have an 0-2 count, the strikeout goes to the previous guy. Not true. You get the strikeout as what it is if you're a hitter and you come into the game not in one of those counts, but if you come into the game as a hitter, if you replace in the middle of an at-bat and you already have 2 strikes, if you strike out, it goes on the last guy. Anything else you do is yours. But if you strike out, it goes on the last guy. So that was what I was getting confused about. Just wanted to clarify that for all of you rules guys and everything. We've got some chats in here, mostly about runners in scoring position. Saying, hey, it wasn't just Rowdy. 1 for 17 with runners in scoring position. Bucko Mike is blaming Rosati because he's 1-28 when he sees the Pirates. So that's fun. I feel like Jim would have knocked in a run. So listen, it has nothing to do with whether or not Jim's at the game. Pirates, however, do have a winning record when I'm there. So just to say, and if we play the Reds, it's real good. Cause when I go see the Reds, the Reds are like 4-12. And I mean, most of those games, except for I did go to one game years ago, Ken Griffey Jr. 500th home run anniversary for a Ken Griffey Jr. bobblehead. I did go to that game. They were playing the Blue Jays, and I think the Reds won that game, which means against the Pirates, the Reds are even worse.
Yeah.
I was at the game last year when they came back from 9-0.
That's right. You were at that game.
I was at that game. Yeah. So
wow.
I should go to all the Pirates Reds games. Well, if you know what, if I did though, I'd probably ruin that thing in a heartbeat. Speaking of, Pirates are now 22-26, 6 games back in third place in the NL Central, a game and a half back in the wild card behind the Padres, who are smoking the Braves right now. So it'll probably be 2 games back in the wild card. Giants and D-backs still in front of us. And we're going to be playing the Giants. So a little extra juice right there.
Yeah.
Also of note, Reds have dropped under the Cardinals in the division. They're really scuffling. Divisions: Brewers, Cubs, Pirates, Cardinals, Reds. We're through that. Anything there?
No. I mean,
listen, it's May, right?
For one, it's May. For two, everybody saw this kind of happening with the Reds, them being a young team again. They'll have their ups and downs throughout the year.
But in general, Pirates, I saw some things where they said like, oh, well, we did this, however it's going. There was a comment that said like, don't worry. They'll say you're only 2 games back in the wild card. So they're still in a good place, right? Even though you're 22-26, right?
Right.
I understand the point of sending that tweet. I understand the point of making that case. At the same time, they are just 2 games out of the wild card. And so, like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, you don't blow it up when you're that close. And I understand it's May, which means you've got plenty of time to come up with 2 games. And you're going to get hot, and they're going to get hot. Somebody under us might get hot. I don't think so. I just looked at it. It doesn't look like they will. I mean, I guess you could say like the Mets or the Nationals. Nationals have lost 5 straight, so they were ahead of us. But like, I mean, I could still see the Reds getting hot and still at least playing at some point with, being 4 games out of the wild card again. So, I mean, there's games to play. I don't think that that's a bad thing. Listen, you're 2 games out, you're 2 games out. I don't care where you are in the standings. It's a step in the right direction.
Listen, if you're 2 games out, then there's adjustments that can be made to put you in a spot to make the playoffs.
Right.
And I don't care what your record is, just get in the playoffs.
Yeah. I hate the fact
that I know
they're
it's May. We're not right.
Playoffs. We're not sitting here saying we're going to the playoffs.
I'm just saying, like, you think, I mean, we obviously see all the Rowdy talk, right?
Yeah.
Just think, you do move on from Rowdy. You do get somebody that can step in and hit their way out of a wet paper bag. Maybe we are 500. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's just, there's just things you can clean up and you're already not that far back.
Yeah. And it's not something to say like, I'm trying not to get like, you're not trying to get out ahead of yourself, right?
Right.
You're really not. You're not trying to say like, well, hey, we're right in it. I mean, you are, but it's May. You know what I mean? But It's also like, I still think, and we talked about this last time, I still think that there I'm really being careful when I say this because it's hard to see sometimes, but there are better days ahead of this team. There are players on this team that I believe in offensively. There are also players that I don't. There are players on this team that I believe in offensively who aren't moving, who aren't going.
Mm-hmm.
I think we already see what the pitching staff is going to do, assuming at all times, right? Because you don't not assume health, but assuming health. You understand that you have to prepare for if health is not good. But if you're one of those doomsayers out there who's not assuming health and just saying, well, they're all going to be hurt in June anyway, so what's it matter? Okay, let's not do that. Assuming health, this pitching staff is going to keep you close.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the pitching staff here in a few minutes. But I think this is leading us into Key Brian Hayes is going to start baseball activities on Monday. And I think that the time is ticking. When he comes back, somebody's got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And Nikki G has really done a good job of taking advantage of an opportunity. The numbers don't look as good as what you've seen with your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he's right around like 270 as far as your average goes. And he's had some really good at bats. He's jumping on first pitches. He's had some clutch moments as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're both a fan of this guy. We thought there was more in the tank, but you've been actually calling it out the last few times. What are you looking at? What are you seeing?
I mean, you're seeing hard hit balls, even the ones that he's making outs on. The approach at the plate, he actually went to AAA, kind of, almost, got a plan together that would translate, brought it up here, and he's having good at bats. Like, even the ones with it, of course, you're going to have some bad at bats sprinkled in here and there, and that's fine. Not, no one's going to judge you for that. It's a hard game, but he's just looked like he belongs this time around.
Yeah.
And the stash, man.
And the stash. That's funny. Something in my eye. Anyway, StatCast has the new bat tracking stuff that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Average bat speed, he's got a 71.9. And it looks like this guy's just absolutely
Which
firing.
Is league average. 72 is league average, I do believe.
Right. Oh, I just looked at the complete leaderboard. Average, Giancarlo Stanton, 80.5 is the top, and O'Neal Cruz, 77.9 is number 2. So, I mean, when you're looking at those kind of guys, obviously anybody who's big is going to get it through faster. I was watching The Compound with Ian Happ, his podcast, and Zach Short were both on there, and he kind of mentioned that he thinks this is a handle thing, instead of a barrel thing, because he's like, we have our internal tracking, and the barrel is like around 90, so they must be tracking from the knob, not from the barrel, which it's going to give you more speed the bigger you are. I think the barrel will too, but I mean, especially a handle. Right. And somebody like, Nick Gonzales is not big. But like, obviously you look at these types of things, and what I've noticed in my short little time is that the harder your swing, the faster your swing, the more swing and miss you're going to have.
Yeah.
And if Nick Gonzales is sitting at 71, well, maybe that's an adjustment. Oh, 72 basically, 71.9.
Right.
Maybe that's an adjustment that he's made to say like, hey, maybe if I take a little bit off of this. But he's hitting balls off the plate inside. So, I mean, the bat speed is still there, but the average bat speed, maybe he's taking some off every once in a while. That'd be something to look into. That'd be interesting. I'll take whatever you're getting from him, man. He's showing up and he's hitting.
Yeah.
And he's got some power involved as well, which is more than some guys that are supposed to have power have. So let's talk about some of the guys, and we've already seen some in the chat here saying, where's that at? You just put it up on there.
Yeah, Rowdy will be squeezed out when Key returns.
Yep. Matt mentioning that. We got, hey, Bucko Mike, I see the defense here. It's not all defensive runs saved. It's not all errors. I think there's I've liked what I've seen from him defensively. I haven't seen anything that looks terrible. There's probably some things that don't like him defensively, and that's okay. It also could just be, a play here and there. I get it. He's not going to be the best. He's not going to be Triolo, but if he's going to out-hit Triolo, he gets second base for me.
Yeah.
This is I mean, look at Morel that we just played. Like, he's terrible defensively. That double by Reynolds in that series actually went between like under his armpit, and he made it look like he missed a dive. And then you watch the replay and you're like, wow, dude. I mean, give him a single, but it's just bad. He's bad, but he rakes. Yeah. And he reminds me so much of the swing of like a Javi Baez, a Carlos Gomez. It's just an absolute like outrage. And it's just like this event. But he also doesn't chase everything. And so, right. I mean, he's just a good hitter. But I'm going to guess this is Tasha? TSSHA? Anyway, before today, 359 expected WOBA for Nicky G. That's great. So, I mean, a lot of good things from Nick Gonzales. He's not going anywhere. I can't imagine he could. So let's go to Triolo then, since we're talking about Triolo and his position. And it has not been good. And we've talked about it. I know that there's been a lot of talk about Triolo and the straight up swing and whatnot. It's not been good lately. We've got last 30 games, 180. Is this Triolo? Yeah, this is Triolo. 180. He hit the home run this weekend. Other than that, on base at 220 slugging, or on base at 270 slugging 220. And the strikeouts are still high. We talked about that last year. The BABIP was amazing, so his average looked good, but the strikeouts were over 30%. And it's like, hey, if you're going to do that, then bring Nick Gonzales up.
Yeah.
If we don't care about, if we're going to strike out that much, what's it matter? He's actually going to do damage when he's not striking out. And this guy's not. I don't know, man. There are times where I think, well, he could benefit from a trip down and maybe get him right. But I'm not sure what right is for Triolo. Is right just like, hey, he's going to come in for defense like Alika Williams? You know what I mean? And if so, I could actually see a place where Gonzales plays most of the game and then the ninth inning or something, even if it's just the ninth, you know what I mean? Like anything like that. I mean, like I said, I don't hate Nick Gonzales on defense, but at the same time, Triolo's going to be better. Bring him in for the ninth inning to help Bednar out. You don't want ground balls just sneaking their way through if they don't have to. Mm-hmm. Even though, like I said, Gonzales has come up. There's been a couple plays up the middle where like Gonzales will dive for him, and I wonder if maybe Triolo would have got to that ball. I think Gonzales does a pretty good job to his glove side. That slide as he's going out into the outfield. He had one the other day that was out of his reach that I thought maybe he could have got to, but he made the play in the Skenes game that was big time. Mm-hmm. But he's not out there kicking it around all the time.
Right. The slide thing, like, I feel like he's going to get, I think he's a little too attached to it. Because I think the one that you're thinking of where it got by him, like, you just dive. You might have a better chance to get to that. I'm not going to say you're going to get to it, but you're going to have a better chance.
It felt like it was too close to dive. And he's also like, he was running out into right field when he did it. So you're kind of on that angle that sometimes that would have been, I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, I don't know if Trill is the guy or not, but he certainly could be. And the other guy will say, the 8th inning on Sunday's game, runners on the corners, nobody out. All Tellez has to do is hit the ball and play, essentially. Even if you hit into a double play, which he did 2 times today, even if you hit into a double play, a run scores, which is what we desperately needed. And he struck out. And then right after him, Triolo pops out to the infield, where it's like, which his task is a little bit harder because he could hit into a double play and not and get out of the inning, which, with his speed, hopefully maybe not. But either way, he could have.
Yeah.
And the two of them together, side by side in the order, is tough. It's tough.
Right.
But then again, you
can't spread them out? Do
you just lump your good and then say crap? Or hope that they come through once, and that's the moment that they come through.
I do that, but I pinch hit at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the 8th inning. We absolutely could have. There could have been anybody that we could have put in that situation for Tellez. And I understand they're going to put him in those situations right now because, like we're saying, Key's not back. You need one of these guys. You need some. If Rowdy all of a sudden starts hitting, Triolo goes down. And then you ride Rowdy until he falls apart again, and hopefully Triolo's figured it out and you call him back up. You can balance that. But once you get rid of Rowdy, he's gone.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what they're giving him. And you do. You give a free agent signing like that, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate here for all of us who want him gone. To play devil's advocate here, I'm gonna say, okay, you've got 35 homers, and then he comes out the next year, and he's battling an injury for half the year. He finally goes on the IL for it. He comes back, and he never really gets that consistent playing time to actually get going. That was the first sign and why they said, hey, we're just not going to do this again. We don't know if it comes back. You know what I mean? And the Pirates took a waiver, and they said, we think that the injuries and the playing time and whatever played in that, you're hoping for a resurgence. That's it, right? You're going to give this guy, he's a free agent signing, you brought him in, whether we wanted him or not as fans. You could give them benefit of the doubt and say they believed that something could have happened there.
Yeah.
If you do that, you give a guy 2 months. That's just the way it goes. You give him 2 months, and if it's not working out, that's when you say, and they're at a position right now where they're in position to say, we can let you go.
Yeah.
Connor Joe plays every day at first base, for better or for worse. He's your first baseman. And you don't bring up Lamb. Instead, no. you bring up outfield help. You bring up Bay, or Peguero is kind of stuck right now. There's not going to be enough playing time in the infield, but Triolo's playing time is going to also be helping Joe at first base at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because he can. And then I think you bring Bay up. There's just a lot there. And to me, that's the option I'd go with. I understand what it means for Connor Joe. Connor Joe feels like this is real. And as good as he's been this year, this is not what he did last year when we were like, yeah, he's playing well. This is better than that. He's earned it, man. He needs to play.
Yeah.
And he is. For the most part, he's playing every day, right? Yeah. And I know that we've got a lot of people saying, He needs to play every day. He is. He hasn't sat 2 games since April. So, you know what I mean? Like, he hasn't sat 2 consecutive games since April.
Right.
He's the everyday starter. He's just getting days off. And that's what's going on. Now, whether that's at first base or in the outfield, right?
Mm-hmm.
So defensively, though, you're saying, hey, first base is yours. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think at that point, you have to bring up an outfielder, because I've seen some things from Joe, and I just, at first base defensively, and man, he just needs to focus on, if he's going to become an R every day, even if it's just for this year, just pack it in for the outfield for this year and just get it infield reps.
Yeah. A lot of the chat for the audio only, a lot of the chat really, really hammering in on Rowdy, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
I mean, I've seen enough, and I was on board when we signed him, saying, you know, this dude hit for power just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and he battled injury, and I was on board for it, man. But it's not coming back. And if it does, it's gonna have to come back somewhere else. See what says frozen.
Frozen. Let's see if we can get it back here. It's gonna come back, I believe it. Back now. Here we go. Back
there
now.
There we go.
All right. I was sitting here. It was funny. I don't know when I came out live, or when it dropped live, but I saw Jake drop out, and I was like, oh, we lost him. And literally, I was telling everybody to wave bye to Jake. And then I kept going on the point I was making. I hope it was good. Nobody will. Well, actually, it's also being recorded, so it could be heard. And then I'm like looking around like, oh, my chat disconnected. Sorry about that. We'll see if we can get it back. And as I was looking, I noticed my red light on the internet up there. So awesome. But we're back. And we were I was talking about Bay, and I don't know how much was heard, but I mentioned that I'm not somebody who's been singing his praises at all.
Right.
And I think that right now, you kind of, if he's getting lucky now, you let him keep getting lucky. Triolo did the same thing last year. Maybe he can keep getting lucky. I think his, not 550, that's outrageous. But his batting average on balls in play could be a little bit higher because of speed as well. Like I said, not 550, more like 350, right. 360. Might see a peak up because of those sort of things. But you also need to know, because if he comes up and he doesn't do well again, then you know that you can move on from him as well.
Yeah.
And it takes more than 26 guys to get through a season. And that's sometimes not just because of injuries, but because of guys struggling. And so I could see it being him, giving him a shot. But for me, I wouldn't go the full 2 months with Rowdy, man. I think I'd be moving on.
Yeah, I'm with you.
If a guy like him is going to hit, what did we say? We mentioned Rowdy here. Last 30 games, or we mentioned Triolo. Last 30 games for Rowdy, under 200 on base. Actually, 148 average, 195 on base, 185 slugging. If you're going to be a 148, 195 guy and be Rowdy Tellez, at least hit some home runs.
Right.
We've got one home run on the season.
And it was in the first series.
If you can't hit for power, you're not doing anything. I would have a little more patience if he had 5 or 6 homers.
Yeah.
I would have a little bit more patience, especially if they were
not a lot more, but
if they were more recent. You know what I mean? If the other 4 or 5 were more recent and I started I don't care about exit velocity if it's going into the ground anymore. Like, I don't care.
Right.
Like, you're not showing me that you're going to do anything. And there's been some moments where I've been like, this is a good matchup for him. And he's just not there, man. And it's weak hits or it's strikeouts.
I had it pulled up, but I don't anymore because I was trying to close some tabs out and stuff. But I think it was like a 43% ground ball rate from Rowdy. Like, that's not a recipe for success when you're not fast.
Yeah.
I'm being nice.
He was on, and listen, the problem with Rowdy is that his best feature right now is being likable.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
No.
that doesn't play. There's
not
no production there.
Not when you're in a position where we're talking. Okay, we're talking about competing for a division.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just not, it's not there. Yeah, they're talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just not there. I see the Pit City What says even the defense stinks. I don't think this defense stinks. I don't think that it's, I mean, there's just nothing special there.
Right.
I mean, he's fielding ground balls for the most part.
He has one error.
Yeah, he has one error.
And I believe it was a throwing error to the pitcher.
Oh, he might be right.
Yeah,
you are right.
Went over his head or something.
That's right. But the play where Grandal threw it into right field the other day, I saw a lot of people saying if Joe's playing first base, that ball's caught. You don't know. You'll never know.
Right.
If so, the only reason is because one's right-handed and one's left-handed. That would be the only reason. There was nothing that he did that would have been, if Joe was left-handed, that he would have done any better. If he comes up with that ball, it's a really nice play by a first baseman. Kind of saves it. But I don't know. I don't know. When you're 270 pounds, what are you going to do? I don't think he's quite that anymore. Anyway, he was on Foul Territory the other day, and he was talking about a lot of different things. It's actually, if you guys listen to Foul Territory, go listen to it. It's actually a good interview. Like I said, he's not a bad guy. Like when you watch an interview with him, there's some sarcasm. Him and AJ Przinsky, if you kind of ignore some of that, because they go at each other hard. So there's something there that's like, okay, well, outside of that.
Yeah.
He is. He's got good things to say about the team. And I really don't, I mean, that guy does not seem like a guy who says things because that's what you're supposed to say. And I've noticed a lot on that show that guys don't act like that. It is. Matter of fact, that's the same show where Tyone talked about Jack Sawinski against him because they were on the same day. And they said, Eric Kratz asked him, I got a guy that we had on the show that he's got these numbers. And Tyone said, yeah, I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Jack Sawinski. And it seems like that's a kind of guy who goes really, really hot and really, really cold. And I don't think I've ever faced him when he's cold or I've made him hot. Like, he's like, it's a bad matchup for me. And first at bat today, Sawinski takes him yard and he walks him in his second at bat. Like, he said, he owns me. He knew exactly who it was.
Yeah.
There's guys like that. You know what I mean? So there's some guys that either you see him well or whatever, but even for pitchers to say like, I can't get that guy out. But like, there's a lot of talk like that. But anyway, Rowdy said on that, all that just to say, Rowdy said on that show, he's like, you have, when you're struggling like this, a lot of times, a lot of swing and miss, like you could do things to adjust and you could get base hits. He's like, I think everyone would agree. Like, I don't need to get base hits. All I'm going to do is clog up the bases. Like, I need to be able to drive the ball or else I'm not effective. And so like, yeah, Rowdy could raise his average and it won't help this team. He needs to be hitting the ball hard. He needs extra base hits, doubles. He needs doubles and he needs homers, or else even starting to get a bunch of singles is not going to help this team. However, I will say, I was thinking about that quote today and I was like, hey, this is one of those times, first and third, nobody out. Go ahead and just get that little single.
Right.
Go ahead and shorten up and get that single. Yep. And that's why I said to you before we hit record, you said, I thought he went the other way on that one, on that duck fart he hit over third. And it was like, okay, but I can tell you he's not doing that on purpose, like because of what he said. He's like, that's not what he's trying to do. And I just think that situational should maybe change that. You don't need to hit a 3-run homer there with nobody out. Go ahead and just get a base hit.
Right. Go ahead and clog the bases up to get a run in.
That's right. I'd be okay with that. So anyway, yeah. Pit City What says he definitely seems like a good clubhouse guy. That's what you hear. And that's fine. but at some point, unless, hey, if we didn't have a Triolo and a Grandal and a Joey Bart and these kind of guys in the lineup and a Jack Sawinski right now, if we didn't have those guys in the lineup, I'd love a clubhouse guy who's maybe not doing good. But the problem is he can't play in front of Connor Joe, who's one of our top hitters. So he's just going to basically be a bench role who, what's your role?
Right.
Well, what is your role there? You know, there's been a lot of talk about whether McCutchen should be there and in the lineup and all this stuff. If I'm going to have one clubhouse guy, that's going to be my guy. He's a completely different clubhouse guy, but they're both, they're both that type of guy that's good for the team. Either way, I'm done. I think we're all done. We're trying to use this as a conversation, like devil's advocate, kind of talk about what there could be. I don't think there's enough time before Key gets back for Tellez. Triolo, I think so. I think he could show me something and see like, okay, I don't think that, what's Tellez going to do outside of hitting like 5 home runs before Key gets back? If he does that, I'm sending Triolo down. Outside of that, I don't know what it is that's going to make me say, let's give him a little bit longer.
Outside of that, it's nothing for me. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's 5 homers or he's gone.
It's been a rough go.
What do you give Key? A week? If he's starting up on Monday, you give him a week, he's back, maybe 2 at the most.
Depends on how quick they like. I would say 5 days probably of baseball activities and then a rehab.
Probably going to do a rehab stint. So you're maybe
probably
looking at
4 games.
Maybe looking at like May 31st, going to Toronto with the team. You know what I mean? Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
And so if so, you've got essentially 10 days and there's only a 2-game series against the Tigers with a couple days off next week, which gives you an opportunity to do it. I don't know. Maybe just give him these 6 games.
Yeah.
And then you've got your answer. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm ready to be done.
You know, I'll say this too. Kutch is at least still good still. Bro's barreling balls right now. He's the most probably unlucky player in the game right this second.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to the Brewers series, because we didn't have a Friday show, so I'm going to go back to that for a second. That catch that Sal Frelick made on him in center field was ridiculous.
Yeah. He was unlucky even before that series, but that one really kind of showed up.
There was like 3 of his balls that just diving plays. Like, come on.
Yeah. Going into that series, North Shore 9 ran some numbers and said that he had, 4 home runs going into that series? And had he played all the games in Milwaukee, whatever it's called, Miller Park, whatever it's called now, if he would have played all of his games there, he'd have 11 home runs.
Yeah.
Just because of like PNC Park swallowing, so many of his home runs. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy. Obviously, the Cubs series, there was a lot of wind. As we move on to our next topic here. A lot of wind, and the starting pitchers, I don't think it mattered much. It probably did for the last 2. There were some balls that got knocked down a little bit. But let me read you these lines, these 4 starts in Chicago. Jones went 6, 7 hits, 3 runs, 7 Ks, no walks. Skenes went 6, no hits, of course. 1 walk and 11 Ks. Falter went 7 2/3, only 3 hits, 2 walks, 2 Ks. Completely different pitcher. And Keller, 6, 2 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks. Keller gets it done in different ways every time he goes out there. And it's really funny, but like he looked like a Falter outing that time, where the time before that he was like 9, whatever it was. But he's down to a 384, Falter to 353, and that includes the first 5 runs of the year where he just gave the whole league a 5 spot. They're like, I'll spot you
Yeah.
5 and I'll still have a 353 by mid-May. Skenes 270. I mean, it's just 2 starts. Jones 289. Perez just got beat up. I think his ERA was around like a 4 something. He's not been good in May. Let's put it that way. He's not been good in May, and we'll talk about that when we do the Giants preview. But these 4 guys and these 4 starts, we'll start with this guy. Are we raising our hand just a little bit on Bailey Falter? Are we done with the? Yeah, we'll see how long this lasts.
Yeah.
Are we convinced? Chat, are you convinced? I want to know.
Bro, he just goes out there and shoves, man.
Little attitude, little chip on his shoulder right now. I love that.
Yeah, good. Keep it up. I mean, we got guys that are going to strike guys out.
Yeah.
I'm okay with 2 Ks because you're going to go deep into the game.
Yeah.
You're just getting guys out. You're pitching. It's fun to watch. Yeah. Yes, it's fun to watch Skenes and Jones doing what they're doing, but like sometimes the crafty lefty is fun to watch too.
Yeah. You're keeping your defense engaged. You're going to get better plays out of them a lot of times when they know that they're going to have to do something. Sometimes Jones and Skenes might find themselves into some bad defense because of that, especially when you got guys, I'm not going to say that that Cruz is necessarily like this, but it's been written a lot that they do certain things to keep him engaged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for whatever that means, by the way, I love the cutoff thing they're doing with him where he takes basically all cutoffs. It is perfect.
Yeah.
And then of course you get a guy throwing over him for one play. But outside of that, it's been a really good idea and it's worked out well. Mm-hmm. So long as they catch and hold on to the ball. Not talking about this weekend, talking about the one they actually dropped that Grandal dropped. But anyway, I don't know what else to say about this. I mean, Keller's Keller. I know there's a lot of haters out there who kind of came in and saying, maybe he's not what we thought we had when we paid for him. I'm going to say right now, and we've said this before on this show, he's getting paid to be a starting pitcher who's had how many, like 30. No, more than that, right? 30 some straight starts of 5 innings.
Like 38.
38 starts
37, 38
of 5 innings or more. That's what he's getting. I don't care if it's a 4.12 ERA, like the money he's getting in the league is that. He's worth it right there. Mm-hmm. But he's still showing up. I mean, I just don't think that Keller I think he shows ace stuff every once in a while, but it's just not there all the time.
Yeah. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to see the Hundo boys, right?
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see them push Keller, to do better as well.
I don't know what else you want from him in May. He's been awesome.
No, I mean, like, just more the same pitcher each time. You know what I mean? Like, not necessarily stuff-wise, just like, I don't know. It's just a mixed bag with Keller, that's all.
Yeah.
You just don't know what you're going to... you're going to get... At this point, you know you're going to get a good start, but you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Are you going to get a lot of balls put in play? Are you going to get a lot of strikeouts? Like,
don't you think they know, though? Like, don't you think that they know what you're going to get? I mean, they game plan for that. He doesn't go out there and say, like, well, let's just make it up. Like, they know what he's going to do that day. He's saying he's either going to say, like, we're going to strike out a lot, guys, tonight because I got the stuff that they hate, and we're going to strike them out. Or, hey, I'm going to go right at these guys. They're going to hit the ball, and we're going to make them hit it on the ground, or whatever it is. Like, he's going to know how he's going to attack those hitters, and if he needs to go, most part. You know what I'm saying? Or he goes in the bullpen and says, hey, I don't have this pitch today. We're not going to throw it.
And that's where it is. Like, hey, I got the stuff to get all these guys striking out, but that pitch isn't working. So, I don't know. It's just, you're never done improving. I think everybody who's ever been in the show has said that at one point or another on an interview. You're constantly trying to get better, and that's all I'm saying. Like, just keep pushing him to, because they're obviously they're going to push themselves past him on the in the rotation.
No
as
doubt.
Far as you know what I mean. Like
no doubt.
So he's got to already see, like, I'm not losing my spot in the rotation, but I'm losing my spot in where I'm at in the rotation. I need to get better, and he's already good.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, like, I don't see it that way. I think his value is going to be what it is. He's going to give you 5 innings. I don't know if you saw that show up, 41 straight. Yeah. I think that's his value right now. He's going to keep you in a game. He's going to throw at least 5 innings. I mean, he's the only one on this team Falter really too, but that's not his last complete game, the one he threw. I think he'll throw another one. And it's because he could go out there with that mindset on any day and say, this is what we're going to do. And he's good enough to get away with it. I don't think that's, I think we're seeing good Keller again. The last 3 outings have been great. And so I think what we saw at the beginning of the year was just a slow start.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't think that he's got ace stuff like Skenes does. Right.
Right.
But I think he's every bit as valuable as we thought he was when we signed him.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. And if he's going to end the season with a 384, man, I'm pumped.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's going to be a really great place because he's going to give you 180 plus innings as well.
I just like, I guess what I was just trying to say is you get these guys in place and they push each other. Right.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's good.
Yeah.
It's good for the team.
Yeah. I think you're going to get some more pushing from the veteran than the other way around. I know what you're saying though. Like, I don't know that he can step it up more. I don't know that it's there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. What we're seeing right now is as good as it's going to get. So maybe if he starts to struggle again, he'll want to pick it back up. But I think this is what we're going to get. I don't know. Like I said, there was a tweet that went out earlier today about what he's done in May so far. But I could just go to his page. Because what he's done in May so far is ridiculous. He's got a 129 in May, 3 starts, a complete game. I mean, he's given up 3 runs in 3 starts, and 2 of them were today, obviously, and 1 in the other. And then he's just been really good. 0.9 whip right now in May. So, there's nothing there for me. I think that's what you're going to, if you get that at all, it's great.
Yeah.
As far as Jones and Skenes, it's funny. You actually have less to say about them. Skenes just went 6 no-hit innings. And this is still like I don't know where you're at. I don't know how much live you're getting to see other than just rewatching them. And even when rewatching them, you're a pitcher. I know that I'm laughing. I'm finding myself like laughing when I'm watching these games, whether it's what he did, whether it's just how easy it is. I mean, I don't know, but it's like a laughter event for me. It's like I'm watching Cheers, man.
The hitters' reactions, man. The hitters' reactions says most of it. And some of these dudes, they're just like defeated, deflated. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's blowing me away. And you're still going to wait. I'm still waiting for the Jones blow up start. I'm still waiting for the start that Jones comes out and just happens to give up 7 runs. And then that ERA is not 2.89 anymore. And you're like, dang it. Man, that was a good run.
Yeah.
All right. So, Falter, Imanaga. Pirates got their first taste of Imanaga. This game is a game that I will title the one that got away. And the reason I'll say that is because we remember in the offseason, the Pirates were close on Shota.
Yeah.
He decided to stay in Chicago. There were reports that the money was there. I think it was less years. And I think that it was well written that he liked Chicago when he got there. Anyway,
yeah,
he is better than advertised. Much, much better than advertised. And it was no different. Those guys went toe to toe. I will say no one else in this league has figured him out. If the Pirates did not score in the 6 innings that showed at 6 or 7, did he go 7? He went 7. If the Pirates don't score in the first 7 innings of that game, I'll give you a pass. Most teams haven't. I mean, he went like 5 or 6 starts before he gave up a run. So I'm beyond that right now. Yeah, Skenes, Jones, Imanaga, Keller, Falter would have been insane. It would have been insane.
Yeah.
That would have been crazy. Anyway, I'll give you a pass there. You had 2 innings to score a run, and you didn't even get a hit. As a matter of fact, 5 of 6 batters struck out in those 2 innings. To me, when you have Bailey Falter throwing the game that he was throwing, I know it's a short window, but something has to happen more than 5 of 6 strikeouts.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'll give you a pass on Shota. That's where it stops. I understand that those 2 guys that threw have great ERAs and they've been good this year. I understand that. 5 of 6.
Yeah.
It felt like there was no fight. The game was a pitcher's game. That was clear. But the play at home was an absolute botched call. And I don't know what you do about it. You don't. You move on.
Right.
But that was about as bad as it gets.
Yeah, and like I only really saw it in slow motion, right?
Yeah.
But I can see him calling him safe.
He saw the ball on the ground. He called him safe. He pointed to the ball. I get it.
Yeah. But you reviewed it and you could clearly see that he tagged and he was turning and he was showing you the ball.
Yeah.
And then his hand hit his. Come on. This is the reason we have replay.
That's
is
it.
To not miss these calls.
Yep.
I'm not going to go there. It's just get these ones right. These are why we put replay in, is to get game-changing calls correct.
Yeah. Yep. I don't understand, and I haven't seen anything yet. I would imagine the league is going to have to address this. They're going to have to say what should have been called there, and I don't know that that's happened. It probably won't until Monday. Yeah. Yeah, I think they're going to have to say. I think in a situation like this, they're going to have to speak up and say that it was messed up.
At this point, why? Like, I don't even care. We all know. We all know it was wrong. But
because I want to know that it'll get fixed. I want to know that they own up to the fact that they screwed up. This is an MLB. Okay. Well, I mean, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, this wasn't the guys. Those guys on the field, they called it one way, but they don't get to decide what the answer is. They're not going under the hood. They just send this away and they make the call with 875 different angles. And they decided that he dropped the ball as part of that tag. That's what they decided.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine. And it was not call stands. It was call confirmed.
Right.
So you have got to tell me how that was part of the tag. He tagged, he untagged. Play over. I don't care if he pulls it with his bare hand. I don't care if he throws it in the air. Because he could have. He held it up. He could have just thrown it in the air because they got the out. And then what are you going to say? He dropped it there too? If he would have voluntarily thrown it, would you going to say that he dropped it? You know what I'm saying? Like the play was over. Yeah. They're going to have to make a statement to know, so to fess up and say, we screwed that one up. That's what needs to happen, I think. Because this is not only just a game that's costing us. Like we could be looking at a 23-25 team. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand it's a game, but you play them for a reason. There's a reason why there's 162. It's not so that they're less meaningful. It's, you know what I mean? But this one's going to matter in the end. This is going to come down to it, I bet. And whatever it comes down to. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
If we're not one game from something, you know?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I don't know what you, like I said, I don't know what you can do about it. I don't know if there's a way that they could say, we're calling him out. We'll complete this as a doubleheader where you complete one game and then play another one. I don't know if there's anything like that they can do.
I doubt it.
I know that there's players, the personnel is going to be different. So there's an opportunity for substitutions at that point. And then, you know what I mean? That could be its whole thing as well. It has happened before with rainouts and things like that. You know what I mean? Like it's happened before, but I don't know what they do as part of this. They screwed it up.
Yeah.
And I think it's like pretty bad. This is like maybe not like 19th inning in Atlanta McHenry bad, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
At least in that situation, there are some people on this earth that think he didn't tag him, even though the base runner was like, oh, dang. Oh, wait, really? I'm safe? All right. Even after he called him safe, he still reached over and touched home just to make sure. If I remember it right. Either way, I don't know. I don't know what you do. Protests are fun, it says, even if 99% of the time they were unsuccessful. Did they actually protest this?
No.
Oh, it says that I wish we still had the ability to.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I actually agree with the fact that they don't because of replay, but this situation kind of makes you think.
Right.
You know what I mean? It does kind of make you think, like, wait a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, that was messed up. All right, let's get out of here. We've got Giants coming up. Logan Webb throwing on Tuesday against Perez. Perez a 9.39 ERA in May. He's given up 3, 4, and 9 runs in his last 3 starts. He had a 270 in April, by the way. He's got a 486 now on the season. Whatever. We got him, Jones, Skenes. I have no idea who's going for the Giants. I looked over their last games. They're actually skipping a guy to put Webb in there because they had a day off, 2 days off. So they're skipping a guy. Webb's throwing the first game. And then I don't even know because the guy after them was a opener. 3 innings, 2 innings, a bullpen game. Not opener, a bullpen game. So I have no idea who we're going to face after that. I can refresh it right now and see if they've updated it with anything. But otherwise, I have no clue. They have not. Both TBD, no idea. So we'll see. Not that it matters. We'll just scoring 30 runs this series. So Giants are coming from Denver. Did they win that series or did they sweep it? I think they lost today. They ended up winning. So they swept that series. Oh yeah, we talked about this. They're 23-25, third in the NL West. Depending on the Padres game, which is in the bottom of the 9th, Padres up 9-1. So they're going to win. They're going to be a game back of the Padres in the wild card. And they're 6-4 in their last 10. So 23-25, that's what we should be. So it's a good opponent. What did we do earlier when we went to San Francisco in May or in April? I mean, it was, I thought we did. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
We lost the series. We lost. So we lost the series there. So we got to get them back. Take 2 or 3 here. Split the series with a team with an exact same record as us, or supposed to be.
Could be.
Could be.
Because we still didn't score any runs.
Because you're right. We still didn't score any runs. We didn't deserve to win that game. We just deserved to tie it. That's a good point. Let's not forget that. The play was bad. The call was bad, but we still didn't score any runs.
Right.
And you got to score to win. So, all right. I don't know if there's anything else. You got anything else to add here at the end?
I don't think so.
Sorry for missing Friday.
Yeah.
You're not sorry. I'm the one that's sorry. You shouldn't be sorry for, going out and celebrating an anniversary.
True.
That's not something to be sorry about. Me, on the other hand, I shouldn't get sick.
I mean, you really can't help that either. So.
Yeah. COVID. I blame them. My immune system is shot since. Hey, everybody on video and on live right now, I got my new Young Bucks hat. I love it. The jerseys are sweet too. I don't buy jerseys, but the jerseys are sweet too.
Yeah.
But got the new hat. I absolutely love it. Get a little closer. That font is great. Anyway, sure. That's all I've got. Thanks for being with us, guys. Thanks for the chats, and thanks for listening to the podcast all the time. Sorry for Friday. Glad to be back.
Sorry for the internet issues.
Yeah. Let's go Bucks.
Let's go Bucks.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks.